we're going to do this week is study chakra development and chakra chords, a way of working with them for ourselves, but also, if you're interested, helping other people integrate and use this material. So what I'm going to do is provide you with an overview of how it all works, so we can get our mind around the structure. We're also going to have experiential exercises, so you can try them out for yourself. And then at the end of the day, you'll pair off and work with other people and try them out one-on-one. I want to stress that there's a mixed level in this group, as there are in every healing group. It's not unique to this one, because we all have to start somewhere. But also, the more advanced you are, the more important it is to keep coming back to beginner's mind. Keep coming back to reevaluating everything we know and distilling it to its most helpful version. Because the more we know, the more we have to forget to make room for the new. I'll go through some of the basics of energy healing, what it does, what kind of results we should expect, as well as how it applies to our own personal development, our own personal and spiritual growth. Because both with energy healing and with the work we're studying this week, the effect we have on others depends on our own inner development, our own work on ourselves. Same with psychotherapy and other ways of helping people. Unless the practitioner is engaged, working their process, they can't really help someone else evolve to a new level. There'll be a tendency always to keep the client or the person you're helping at the same level you're at. So fundamental to this kind of work, as with all spiritual development work, not just energy healing, is this idea that we're working on ourselves and then by extension helping others to evolve. And then it feeds back. When we help others, it helps us, gives us fresh insight, fresh ways of appreciating ourselves and this incredible universe we're living in. There are 4 ways that usually we study something. And first is self-study. We pick up a book, we get interested ourselves, we get curious about something. In this case, it's energy healing, spiritual transformation, but it applies pretty much across anything we study. Second level is we find someone to work with, a mentor, a helper, a teacher. And the teacher, whether it's a school teacher or you're working with a supervisor or a tutor, that person helps you understand it for yourself, takes your learning to a much deeper level than if you just read a book. And mentoring, being supported by someone who knows the territory, can speed up your understanding and your growth tremendously. I know many of you here are mentors for others or are training to be mentors for others. The third way is a group. We go to a college, we go to a study group, we become part of a community, and in doing that, we learn from each other. And many of you here have been on or are still in study groups and know how important those friendships can be from college, from Barbara Brennan's school, from Rosalind Bruyere, from Yui Wang's class. The relationships with others we form end up being as important as the material we're studying. So whenever we become part of a group, even one that's only for 5 days, the connections we form and the things we hear people say are usually very important. The way other people that have just met us for the first time mirror back to us, share with us what they see in us or how they enjoy being with us. Additionally, we have an international group here, people from all over the planet. All of you have flown in from all over the planet, which is remarkable in itself. In 2 days, for some of you, to get here, a few hours for those of us, and maybe 35 minutes for Sylvia. But we've traveled tremendous distance to create this group event, this group study process. That's the third way. And the fourth is what we're doing here today, an intensive. So an intensive is a full immersion. So it's not just that you're studying with me as teacher, or you're listening to each other as students, as colleagues, as fellow travelers. We're also, most of us, again except for Sylvia, in a brand new culture. The magnetics of the earth of Bali are unique, even in Southeast Asia. The food, yes, it has some similarities to other, but it's, again, the food that you'll be eating is Balinese, made by Balinese people. It has the magnetics, the energetics of the culture, the people. So all of this will affect us, and as we'll discuss during the lecture after this one, relationship is what changes us. We are not unique, isolated beings just floating around, bumping into each other ad hoc, chaotically. We are actually learning by relating with each other and exchanging information, exchanging experiences. And the cord work is the study of the energetics of that process. We're actually going to break it down as to how the energetics, my energy field interacts with yours, or with yours, and back again. How do we grow and evolve as relational energy fields, as relational beings? The cord work is the key to making that all work. And we're going to be gaining our skill level, or actually refining our skill level during the week, to a point where I'm hoping you'll go away with practice tools to either deepen what you've already studied with me in the past, or if it's your first time, to actually feel the value and the actual ability to interact at a relational level. And if you're not interested in working with others, for yourself, for your family, or maybe integrate it into a psychotherapy practice, or anything else that's important to you, your spiritual path, for instance. The key thing with an intensive is that this is uniquely your rhythm. You are here for yourselves. I'm a secondary kind of product. Basically, you came here, each of you, to uncover some important part of your life, either recover it or find an access point to something new. So your main focus here is that, why did I come to Bali? Yes, to learn some energy healing work, to have a bit of a vacation, but also to find out what that next step is for you, what's starting to emerge and coming towards you. And for those of you who are interested in applying this work with others, with your clients, this is what we also engage in with them, with the client. We don't so much want to teach someone as help them learn from themselves. So we have to listen in the same way we listen to ourselves. We have to learn to listen to the other in that same way. So this is where energy work is similar to therapy, but not quite. In psychotherapy, you're trying to help someone adjust to a challenge, emotional challenge, relationship challenge. You're trying to help them adjust and make better choices in their lives. We actually want to take that process a few steps deeper. We want to listen to the soul within the personality, the spirit being wrestling with personal or professional issues that indicate that they are trying to evolve to somewhere new. The energy work supports that process. The search for this person's meaning, their soul meaning, if you will, or our soul meaning, everyone sitting in this room, that's the fundamental part. The technique that we do, whether it's psychotherapy or in this case energy cord work, should support that process. We shouldn't serve the process, we should serve the person. Make sense? So there is a lot of material here, and to support you kind of getting to terms with it, I sent you the first version of the ebook. I'll be referring to it on and off during the week, but that's the first version of some of this material that may help you understand some of the things we're working with, because I can only speak so much. You can probably read a lot faster than if I speak it. There'll be more material released in the future that will be more specific. This is a very generalized document to give you some support. So in an intensive, you want to follow your own rhythm. You don't have to sit and listen to me if you want to fall asleep. Much better you say, I'm sleepy, I'm going to go sleep. Yeah. And you'll have access to the recording at some point. You won't miss any material. Outside of the lecture and the experiential, again, follow your own rhythm. If you feel lazy, go to the pool, swim. You have complete permission in this environment, this retreat environment where no one other than me and the dinner crew are telling you what to do, right? You have complete freedom. So it's like being a child again. This is the playpen. This is the playhouse for you to let go of those. I mean, we all have them, yeah? We have these habitual places we hold, probably from our childhood, from our work, from our family, people that are important to us. We take that on. This is the week where you let go of those restrictions. And you play. One of the ways I play is with my camera. When my brain starts to get a little too tight, I get a little too intense even for myself, I pick up my camera, and then it's just me and what I'm taking a shot of. I dissolve my rigidity into the act of connecting with what I'm photographing. And I'll talk a little bit more about that as an illustration of what we're trying to do with energy work. In that we're not trying to take a photograph of the client, but we're interacting with the client. We're engaging a creative moment with the other person. And again, it doesn't have to be a client. It can be your husband, wife, children, brother, sister. It can be anyone. The process of connection, clearing, and then building a healthy structure to go forward on is all the same. And it probably even can be translated across to play music. Yeah? Same process. It's creative. It's connection. It's using what's inside you to reach out to other people. And of course, with the psychotherapist, again, you're looking to create a new opportunity for inner growth outside of the constrictions we all have to deal with. So that's kind of a broad overview of our week. Structurally, how it's going to be built is like this. We'll start off, you'll be happy to hear this, you start off with me doing all the work, giving lecture material. That's number one. Right after breakfast, while you're still waking up. Feel free to go get coffee and tea, except we don't have the coffee station set up yet, but we'll work on that. After we've had that and some Q&A and some time for you to ask your questions, we'll do some practices to start getting this material into your body, into your emotional body, into your etheric body, and we'll talk about what that means. Give you something also so when you go back, you can continue, if you like, to practice these exercises. A little bit like going to the gym. If you want to go to the gym and get strong, you don't just go once or for a week. You have to go several times a week, or for some of us, every day. So otherwise we get very, very fat. So after lunch, we'll go upstairs to the yoga room. I'll do a demo with one person from the group. And my beloved Japanese students have a wonderful way of choosing spontaneous. So I'm going to turn over it's a Japanese choosy thing, where everyone puts their name in. And you'll see how it works. But basically, the person who gets chosen is a function of this Japanese choosy game. I have nothing to do with it. It's up to the divine energies. But the idea behind the demo is the person who's chosen. I'll work with them, assuming that they want to, of course. They can always say no. And give you a bird's eye view of working with someone using these techniques. Now, some of the stuff I'll do will be familiar from our material here, or if you've worked with me personally from your sessions. But some of it may be very different. because there's so much material to teach. A little bit like an artist who, if you have 4 or 5 colors, you can create art. But if you have a whole series of colors, much better. So even in relational healing or energy healing as a whole, many different techniques, and the idea is to choose the one that you think is going to be more helpful, useful, and apply that. So that'll be the demo portion. And then after that, we'll pair up, and I'll give you an exercise to try with each other. Now, with this last part, I want to stress, you're playing, you're having fun. It's not serious in that someone's going to judge you. I'm not going to write a report on you. I'm not going to give you a star if you do well. No sticker. No approval, no disapproval. No approval, no disapproval. Why? Because this is your playtime. When you have young children, you don't approve or disapprove of them playing. You know that their brains are getting used to new material. Their trial and error is part of the way our brains work. So this may bring also your inner critical voice up more than you expect, because freedom brings up the critical voice. I'm not doing it right. My partner's doing it better than me. My partner, the other person has had more training than me. They have this certificate, So you're going to have to do a little work to ignore that voice. Take that critical voice and put him over here. Well, not on my camera. This isn't my phone. Somewhere over here. Go play. Go play. Because the creative process is fundamentally a trial and error process. You try something. If it works, great. It's part of you. If it doesn't work, or it's not quite your thing, it's not quite your style, not quite the way you like to do things, just put it on one side. It's good for someone else, not for you. And slowly, you start accumulating things that appeal to you, that you enjoy doing. And for me, as an ex-scientist, are functional. They get results. So I'm not interested in just, because I am an ex-scientist, I'm not interested in just waving my hands around and getting all magical woo-woo, and channeling Archangel Michael and all that. That's great for some people. They like to do that. I want to know how to apply an energy interaction that will give a consistently positive therapeutic response, healthy assistance to the person I'm helping. This system that I'm going to help you explore this week is a practical, results-orientated system. If we don't get results, why bother doing it? We may get results doing one thing rather than another. So again, you have to find your way in. I have many students and who I tutor, and also from the past, that are very shy, very sensitive. And their style of doing what I do is very different from what I do in terms of how it looks. But they get the same results. In fact, the less forceful, the less structured you are with this work, the better results you get often, because the person you're working with isn't under pressure to perform, to please you or the other person. Probably like they had to please their parents when they were growing up. So freedom. If there's one word that kind of sums up what we're exploring, it's personal and spiritual and emotional freedom. Because everything that restricts us, controls us, or denies our life force is based fundamentally on restricting that freedom, on controlling us, on reducing us to a function, not a person. We want to go in the other direction. We want to find out what frees someone. We want to find out what helps them grow, become more of a person, more of a free individual. We want to find out what helps them become more creative. And we also need to find out how that shifts the people around them, how it affects their relationships, the important people in their lives, or coming important people in their lives, family, probably society too. Because historically, the moment we start to get free as individuals, society doesn't like that very much. So we have to, at some point, look at what happens when society says, no, you can be so free, but you can't really be free. And so how do we deal with that kind of social awareness is also part of this work. So that's my kind of very broad opening. I do have a lecture for you. It's all written here.